All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a problem-solving technique that is so fundamental to who we are. We use it all day, every day, and we probably don't even notice. It's the engine behind how we learn, how we discover, and it all kicks off with one very familiar feeling.
Oh, yeah, you know this feeling. We have all been there. That moment of just total frustration. You're staring at something, a gadget, a piece of code, a piece of IKEA furniture, and you just can't figure out why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's that universal arg that actually connects all of us, because it's the starting line for one of our oldest and most reliable tools for figuring things out.
I mean, just think about it for a second. That printer that suddenly won't print. You check the paper, you check the ink, you jiggle the cable. That password you can't remember, you try your pet's name, then your birthday, then your pet's birthday. Every single one of those guesses is part of this really powerful, really intuitive process. So, what do we call this thing that we all just do? Well, it turns out it's not just random guessing and hoping for the best. There's actually a method to the madness, and it's got a name. And here it is, the official definition: trial and error. The keywords here are repeated and varied. It's not about trying the same wrong thing over and over. It's about methodically trying different possibilities, learning from what doesn't work, until you finally land on what does. And this is the engine that makes it all run. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful little four-step loop. First, you identify the problem. My printer isn't working. Second, you try a solution. I'll check the ink levels. 3, you evaluate the outcome. Nope, still not working. And 4, this is the most important part, you learn from that, and you go back to step 2 with a new idea. Okay, now we'll check the paper tray. Now, this whole idea feels like it's been around forever, and it has, but the science behind it, well, that began in a pretty interesting place with a very clever and very hungry cat. So let me introduce you to Edward Thorndike. Back at the turn of the century, this guy was obsessed with a really fundamental question. How do we actually learn stuff? How do we solve problems? He had a hunch it wasn't always some big flash of genius, but something a lot more gradual. And this is the beautiful, simple idea he came up with. It's called the law of effect. All it really says is that if we try something and it works, if it gives us a satisfying effect, we're much more likely to try that same thing again next time. The good moves get remembered, and the bad ones fade away. It's pretty much the psychological foundation for why trial and error works. To prove it, Thorndike put a hungry cat inside what he called a puzzle box. To get out and get some food, the cat had to pull on a little loop. At first, the cat did everything. It scratched the walls, it bit the bars, it paced around, until it just accidentally hit the loop. That very first escape, it took 160 seconds. But then Thorndike put the cat back in, and he did it again and again. And with every single trial, all those useless behaviors, the scratching, the biting, they started to disappear. The cat learned to go straight for the loop, and its escape time? It dropped from that initial 2.5-minute struggle down to just a few seconds. The errors were eliminated, and the success was reinforced. That's the law of effect in action. Okay, so this method is clearly powerful, but it's not perfect. It's a tool. And like any tool, there are times when it's absolutely brilliant and other times when, well, it can be a real pain. So let's take a look at the good and the bad. What I love about this is how balanced it is. On the one hand, trial and error is amazing. It teaches you resilience, right? You learn how to deal with things not working, and it's so accessible. You don't need a PhD to get started. You just start trying things. But then there's the other side of the coin. Man, it can be slow, super inefficient, and all those repeated failures can get really frustrating. Plus, sometimes you end up just learning the steps to solve one specific problem without ever really understanding why it works. But even with those drawbacks, the influence of this method is just massive. It's not just for hungry cats or broken office equipment. This basic process shows up in some of the most simple and also the most complex systems in the entire universe. I mean, just watch a little kid playing with blocks. They aren't thinking about physics or center of gravity. They just try stacking them one way. Oops, it falls over. That's an error. They try it another way and it stays up. Hey, that's a success. Through thousands of these tiny experiments, they build a steep, intuitive understanding of how the world works. And it scales all the way up to cutting-edge science. The discovery of so many new medicines or materials wasn't some single eureka moment. Nope, It was the result of scientists methodically testing thousands upon thousands of different compounds, countless trials, until one of them finally did the trick. And in the tech world, oh yeah, they gave it a cool kind of aggressive name, brute force, or sometimes generate and test. It's a basic computer science concept where you literally program a computer to try every single possible combination until it stumbles upon the right one. It's how simple password crackers work. Now this is where it gets really mind-bending. You can look at the entire process of biological evolution as the biggest, longest, most epic trial and error experiment of all time. The random genetic mutations, those are the trials. The ones that don't work out, those are errors, and they die off. But the mutations that give a creature a tiny advantage for survival, those are the successes, and they get passed on. So we've seen the method, the science, and just how far it reaches. But if we're going to really, truly get it, we have to change the way we think about one very important word: error. Honestly, if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. An error is not the same as a failure. It's not the end of the line. An error is just data. It's new information. Every single time you try something and it doesn't work, you've just learned something valuable. You've successfully found one more path that doesn't lead to the solution, which actually brings you one step closer to finding the one that does. And that really brings us to the big question. This whole process, trial and error, it's happening all around you and inside you every single day. So the real question isn't whether or not you'll make mistakes. You will. We all will. The question is, what will you choose to learn from them? What amazing solution is waiting for you just on the other side of your next error?